The movie begins during a devastating war on Earth that leaves the planet completely destroyed. As a result, humanity launches a massive effort to build colonies on the moon, giving people a new place to live. The project is completed in record time, and people begin settling on the moon. However, life there isn't easy because the colony is constantly threatened by deadly meteor storms. To keep the colony running, a mining program is established, and the workers become known as the miners. They earn special privileges, including the right to live on the moon with their families. Over time, children are born there, making them the first generation raised entirely on the moon. One day, a group of kids attempts to steal a spacecraft, but they hear someone approaching and quickly hide. Among them is a boy named Caleb, who carries a small capsule containing the ashes of his father, a miner who died while working deep inside the mines. Soon afterward, Caleb is selected to relocate to Omega, an advanced colony where everyone dreams of living. The journey to Omega takes 75 years, but passengers remain frozen in cryogenic sleep, preventing them from aging during the trip. When Caleb learns he'll have to leave, he's terrified. He doesn't want to abandon his friends, but he's told he must depart that very day because another powerful meteor storm is approaching. Missing his father deeply, Caleb remembers climbing to a high place with him, where his father once told him about a mysterious crater created by a massive explosion long ago. He also warned him that no one was ever allowed to go there. The capsule Caleb carries had been given to him by a security guard after his father's death. Later, Caleb's 3 closest friends come to say goodbye. They're heartbroken that he's leaving, and his best friend, Dylan, discovers Caleb's father's final wish by reading the note attached to the ashes. His father had always wanted to visit the Forbidden Crater. Dylan suggests they sneak out and fulfill that wish before Caleb leaves forever. The group gathers everything they'll need for the journey, but they first need a security code to get through the colony gates. Dylan suggests asking Addison, a girl who recently arrived from Earth. She doesn't know anyone yet, and since she's the daughter of one of the colony's scientists, she might know the code. When Dylan approaches her, she initially walks away, but he follows her and explains everything. She eventually agrees to help, but only if she can join them on the trip. With no better option, they accept her condition. The 4 friends set off together. Caleb disables the vehicle's alarm system, enters the security code Addison provides, and Dylan, the only one who knows how to drive, takes control of the rover. As they travel, they experience the moon's vast surface for the first time and are amazed by its beauty. However, they know they must return before the meteor storm arrives because once it does, the colony completely seals itself off. During the trip, Caleb tells Addison the story his father shared with him about humanity's arrival on the moon and the beginning of the mining operation. He explains that if a miner dies on the job, another family member must take their place once they turn 18. If the child is younger than that, they're sent to Omega to live a safer and happier life. Addison smiles and admits she's still trying to adjust to life on the moon. Dylan explains that if anything ever happened to her father, she would be expected to continue his work someday. The group puts on their spacesuits before leaving the rover, although Caleb's suit looks different from everyone else's. Excited by the moon's low gravity, they start jumping and playing. But when Addison looks back at Earth, she becomes emotional and wishes she could return home, remembering the life she left behind. Eventually, they discover a homemade form of entertainment created by previous settlers. They tie themselves to ropes and use oxygen tanks to launch themselves into the air. Addison warns them that it's extremely dangerous, but no one listens. Sure enough, one of the ropes snaps, sending one of the kids drifting into space. Thankfully, they manage to rescue him just in time. Soon after, they realize their oxygen supply is running dangerously low and won't even last until they reach the crater. Caleb suggests visiting a nearby abandoned settlement to find more oxygen. One of the boys refuses, claiming his older brother said ghosts live there. Dylan laughs at him, and the two nearly get into a fight before Caleb calms everyone down and reminds them they need to work together. When they enter the settlement, they think they've found people living inside. But once they turn on the lights, they discover they're only mannequins and life-size displays. The entire place is simply a model colony built to demonstrate what human life on the moon would eventually look like. Since they can't make it back to their rover before nightfall, they decide to stay there overnight. That evening, Addison tells everyone about herself. Her parents divorced, Her mother took her younger brother and moved to Omega, while Addison stayed behind with her father, leaving her mother lonely. Later that night, after everyone else falls asleep, Caleb confides in Addison. He tells her that after losing both of his parents, Dylan was the only person who stood by his side and became like family to him. He then asks Addison to stay with him once they arrive at Omega and promises never to leave him alone. The following morning, they continue their journey, but their rover's battery dies and their oxygen supply is nearly gone. With no other choice, they activate an emergency beacon, hoping the colony's rescue team will find them. When they finally reach the mysterious crater, Addison accidentally steps on a strange rock. Suddenly, everything around them changes. It feels as though they've somehow returned to Earth, and the entire landscape transforms before their eyes. Caleb notices another unusual rock. When he lifts it, he discovers a photograph of his mother, the very first picture of her he's ever seen, along with her ashes. In that moment, he finally understands why his father had always wanted to come to this place. Dylan tells Caleb that his father never wanted him to spend his life suffering in the mines. After 20 years of exhausting labor, he chose to sacrifice himself so Caleb could earn a place in Omega and have a better future. While they're talking, one of their friends collapses from oxygen deprivation. They immediately carry him back toward the rover, but a violent meteor storm suddenly strikes. Amid the chaos, Addison disappears. Caleb and Dylan race back to find her. When they do, they discover her helmet has shattered, leaving her unable to breathe. Caleb carries her back, but before they reach the rover, Dylan also loses consciousness from the lack of oxygen. At last, Caleb manages to get everyone inside the vehicle. Unfortunately, the storm is so intense that the rover's windshield begins cracking. They realize their final chance of survival is slipping away, so they say their goodbyes and tell each other how grateful they are to have become friends, believing these are their final moments. Then comes the biggest surprise of all. Caleb awakens in Omega 75 years later. His first question is about his friends. A nurse hands him a communication device, allowing him to contact them, and he discovers that every one of them survived the disaster. Although relieved, Caleb feels heartbroken because he had dreamed of spending his life alongside them. Later, he meets the family assigned to adopt him in Omega, where he also meets Addison's younger brother. Caleb tells him everything his sister did during their unforgettable journey. Thank you for watching. Don't forget that your opinion matters, so be sure to leave your thoughts in the comments and subscribe to the channel.